Hello everybody, this is Tom Cogswell with Blade RC. We're on the Horizon Hobby Facebook page. We're doing a live Q&A and tech talk about a very exciting new product, the Blade Fusion 360. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up on here. So if you guys have any questions, I'll try to monitor them as best as I can. I'll let James kind of talk about why we brought this to market.
Yeah, so the Fusion 360 is kind of the next step in the Fusion lineup. We have the 270 and the 480 currently. This is kind of the, I don't know if you want to say sweet spot for the market right now for us. I mean, it's super popular. It's just evolving the 360 size that we've had in the lineup for quite a few years now, which is kind of originally called the 450 size, I guess you could say. But the way we've done it now is everything new is using the blade length as the classification for the size.
Okay.
So that way, if you hear 450 size heli, that's an old term.
What did we base that off of? I've been kind of confused on that myself.
Can size originally, I think.
Can size.
Motor's can size.
Oh, okay, okay. So now it's more of a standardized, this is the blade length that we recommend for the helicopter.
Yep, exactly.
This one in particular is 350 millimeters.
Yep.
But you could put a 360 blade on it if you want.
Yeah, for sure. We have the current 360s. The reason we actually decreased the blade length a little bit was we found on the 360 millimeter blades, it created a little bit extra drag, and also some people you found it too floaty. Where it was actually the model's too light for the disc. So it's very hard to kind of control collective a little bit.
Sure. All right,
So actually going down to the 350s, one increase to be able to have the horsepower to push through the blades, and at the same time kind of get that a little bit more neutral feeling, balance feel on the disc versus the weight.
Yeah. It's kind of a kind of a airplane. You don't want it to be all that floaty.
Correct.
Yeah. All right. I like that. I'll introduce myself. I'm Tom Cogswell once again. I am the Blade brand manager, so I do a lot of the marketing stuff. And James, he's a product developer for Blade. He's a product developer for Horizon Hobby. He has his hand in a lot of things. Everything. But he's also a very accomplished heli pilot. XFC, things like that. I mean, when was the last time you won XFC?
Never won it.
Oh, you never won it?
Never won it.
Oh, I could have swore you did.
I made the finals one year.
You made finals one year? But he's really good.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah. You guys should check out some of
I can crash with the best of them.
Yeah. But he does a great job for us. And I mean, one of the really bigger accomplishments that I've seen lately is how you've changed the servo geometry on a lot of these helicopters, especially like this one. It's something that you've brought over from, when did that start? Like the CFX line?
That would have been on the 700, I think, the initial one. The 700 way back when. So yeah, that's what basically the servo arms are moving in the same plane and on the same pivot point as the swash plate. So you get less interaction, which is more, was really critical back in the flybar days, but less critical now with the flybarless units.
Sure.
But making the servos and the flybarless unit work less is always a good thing. We've got Kyle behind the camera, so we're going to have him kind of zoom in on things here, and if we're talking about something, hopefully he can kind of pinpoint it on there for us. So, like I said, if you guys have questions, go ahead and shoot them along. Battery-wise, what would you recommend on this? So right now we have a new battery, which isn't announced yet.
You guys get a little bit of a teaser here.
Yeah. For things to come. So we have a 6S 1800 50C battery. So a lot of people ask, on a 350, 360 size heli, the 6S 1800 is actually a pretty big battery. And there's a few reasons for that. One, CGs correctly, which is important.
So the 1800 does CG a little bit better?
1300 you got to put out a little bit farther off the nose. Still fits in the canopy, but the 1800 also just from the current draw and the flight time. I mean, you can fly 4.5, 5 minutes of pretty hard flying on this battery, no problem.
4.5 to 5 minutes.
Yeah.
All right.
It kind of gets boring there towards the end. But no, that and also just the being able to push the power through it. The 1300s we've found they still work, but you definitely get that shorter flight time.
Yeah. So the 1300, the batteries we have right now are 1300 30C packs. Like this Connexus one. There's also an E-Flight one. What would you say, like 3.5?
3.5 to 4 minutes is still okay.
Get on that. So if you guys are pre-ordering this right now, this is the battery that you'll want to get. But also, like what we were saying, these guys are going to be coming sometime late next month or so. We'll be announcing them next week, so you guys can check them out. Or not next week.
They'll be here roughly the same time as the helicopter.
Yeah, so you guys will be able to grab those for your helicopter.
Yep.
They are a smart LiPo, so they've got the built-in auto discharge storage feature. all that cool stuff. If you guys want to know more about smart technology, go ahead and check out the Spectrum page.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, the going from the battery up, we have a ESC, so we're using the Hobbywing 60 Platinum ESC in this.
Yeah.
Governor works extremely well, very easy to use. It's set up out of the box, ready to go. It does have the IC3 connector on there, still compatible with the EC3s. Fits perfectly in there, so that's a good step. Going back a little farther, we have the motor. So this is actually the same motor that's been in the 360s in the past, but we've changed the color to black and added a steel hardened pinion.
The pinion is a big upgrade.
Yeah, so
it's
the hardened steel
a lot of
pinion.
people think about.
And previously we had brass. Brass works fine, but over time they do wear out. So over crashes and stuff, they'll deform a little bit. So just being able to go to the steel pinion, be able, makes it a little bit stronger and a little bit quieter actually in the long run.
Yeah. Another new thing on this guy is the servos. We've got some newer servos on there.
Yeah, so the servos are the same case and gear train from the 3050s and 3060s. But what we've done is spend a lot of time improving basically the controller algorithms and the performance of the servo itself.
Okay.
So the reason we had to do the new part number was you can't mix and match them with the old ones.
Sure.
So the performance is dramatically improved as well with this new control algorithm.
Yeah.
So really improves the performance and accuracy of the servos.
If you guys have a 360 like the CFX or the Trio and you want to upgrade the servos with these, remember to replace all of them.
Yes, do not mix and match.
Do not
Bad
mix
things
and
happen.
match. Yeah. So
Don't ask me how we know. Jumping up, so it's a very similar head design from the 360. So if you do have an old 360, those parts will fit. They'll just be a different color. Everything's gone to the new blade logos and emblems in the black with the anodizing and the basically the custom back and getting the silver etching in and everything. It does have the center pitch marks on the head, which makes it convenient for setup.
I like that a lot. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, makes it very nice. One thing we have changed a little bit is we've modified the links. You'll be seeing this kind of running change throughout all the line.
Okay.
They're much tighter. They snap on much better, and they're fit a little bit tighter. So there's a lot less slop in the system.
Right. So is that like a material change that we made?
Retooled basically.
Retool?
Yeah,
Okay.
ball links.
Better
just
tolerance.
beefing them up.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, cool. I like that.
So we'll save the best for last with the flight control.
Yeah.
We'll come back here to the tail. I know Kyle's over there zooming away on things.
Thank you, Kyle.
Yep. So right now we have tail blades are the same as the old 360, but with the new trim scheme. So if you have the old blades, they work just fine.
Sure.
One change, we do have all new metal grips in here. So they are black, but they are metal, as well as the belt crank and the pitch arms and everything here.
So all aluminum parts.
It's all aluminum in the back.
Yeah.
Versus, on the older stuff where we've had plastic. Then the other big change is we have a full CNC metal tail case. So two reasons why we would do this. One, we've gone to a much larger outer bearing diameter on the tail shaft. And the reason for that is it gets much larger bearing, tolerances go up, being able to use a larger bearing with the balls inside makes it a lot quieter.
Okay.
And then also we've gone to the aluminum pulley on the shaft. And the reason for doing that is consistency and keeping the noise down. So
it's even quieter from there.
It's quieter than the plastic one, actually, we found. And the consistency is much better. Also, we've been able to modify it so you can pull the tail shaft out with these two screws on the side. You can actually leave the whole tail assembly on and pull everything out that way and replace bearings and everything a lot easier.
So here's one question, just kind of interrupt.
Yep.
Speed and torque on the servos. Oh, man.
Yeah, I got those on the top of my
yesterday.
head. So it should be the same as the 3050s.
Yeah.
So we'll get those pulled over. The tail servo is actually extremely fast. I want to say, don't quote me on this, at like 0.04, 0.05.
Yeah. I was looking at the servos yesterday because I was going to update the specs, and the servo transit on the head was like 0.059 or something like that.
Yeah, they're
so
very fast.
Very fast,
Yeah, and the torque I want to say is around 30 to 40 ounces of torque in there. It's very comparable to the standard micro servos out there that are metal geared.
Yeah, they're a micro size Metal Gear servo, so they're not super powerful, but they're perfect for something like this.
Yeah. Going in the tail case, very easy to install. 2 screws on each side, has little clamps on there. We do have a painted tail fin, very visible. Goes with the canopy, so that comes out of the box that way. Makes it extremely visible in the air.
Get a good zoom in on that. This thing is so cool.
That's definitely one of our probably everybody very likes the canopy colors and everything in this. Very nice hand modeling there, Tom. Impressive. Very impressively done. So that brings us up to...
Oh man, what are we talking about now?
the blades.
The blades.
Yeah. No, so the new blades, they have a new shape, new airfoil, extremely quiet. They're actually an extra layer of carbon in there compared to the older style.
Zoom in on these right here.
So the new tip shape and everything makes them much quieter. The old blades had this kind of farty noise to them that, you know, under high loads.
Yep.
These still will get there. Every blade will at the extremes, but these are very quiet, and the trim scheme on them just looks great.
I love them.
Yep.
Yeah.
So now we can go down into the flight control.
Okay.
So I'll grab this here. So the flight control is a new flight control that we've been working on. It's got an aluminum base, anodized orange here. It takes separate inputs from Futaba, S-Bus, Yeti. We're working on that with them to get that kind of done. Right now it takes Spectrum out of the box for the Bind and Fly 360.
So out of the box right now it's just Spectrum.
Yep.
But he's alluding to some updates.
Yeah. So right now, this is similar to the 636 we've had in the previous models. It's fixed to this model. You can't change orientations and reverse servos yet.
Okay.
There's more to come on that down the road, being able to put on other models and such. But right now, the coolest feature is it has forward programming.
Right. So that's why we have a radio up on the desk here.
Yep. So forward programming, Tom, you want to go ahead and we'll bind that one up there?
All right.
So forward programming is basically, previously, if you wanted to set up a gyro or anything, you'd have to have a computer or a mobile device with a Bluetooth module. Right there on the side. Go ahead and throw that bad boy on there.
And it uses a telemetry serial receiver, right?
Yep. Throw this out there, it'll wig out.
All right.
So he's going to put it into bind mode. We're going to bind it up here. So we're using a DX8. Pretty much any G2 radio has forward programming capabilities right now.
Yep.
If you don't have that, you can still do servo centering.
With like stick commands?
Stick commands on boot up, actually hold it out for centering. You can still center your servos and stuff and crash, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So one of the actually interesting thing is here, it will not boot up until you pull the bind plug like you just did.
All right.
So, so right now we got a flashing green light showing that we have receiver connectivity and it's initialized. The one thing I actually want to show that's one of my favorite things is, I'm going to unplug it here for a second. And I want to show you the boot up time. Battery plugged in and it's booted up. There's no waiting, you can be holding it.
Wait a minute.
Yep.
Usually you're waiting a little while.
Nope, so it's very quick boot up times now.
Wow.
So I'm going to try to hold this without making it very awkward here. So we're going to do it upside down. So we're going to go down to...
I'm going to the forward programming menu.
Which I'm used to a 12, so it's going to be a little interesting. So there's forward programming.
There you go.
So throttle down low. It's going to boot up here in a second. So now you'll see you have swash plate, tail rotor setup, and system setup. I'm going to try to look at it here from the TV. So we'll go to setup first. So the nice thing is, you want to go to the swash plate. You have AFR. So AFR is your swash plate treble.
Okay.
It's very similar to like mechanical setup.
Sure.
So this is actually, you can adjust your roll, pitch, and travel as well as the pitch.
Okay.
Next thing we have is the sub trim. So you kind of heard the servos jump. So this one has been sub trimmed at the factory. So you can see that you can adjust these values. So I'll try to remember that was -82. So it's adjusting the travel on servo number 1 here. So we'll go back to -82. So this is very simple. You adjust the servo sub trim right there from your radio, and away you go.
Yeah. If you get it wrong, is there like a reset or anything like that?
Yeah, if you want to get it wrong, you just hit clear when you're on the value and it zeroes it out.
Cool.
So normally you'd want to do this with the servos out of the model, get them nice and 90, make sure the linkages. Next one here is E-ring. So E-ring is a basically mechanical software limit on if you're doing corner cyclic.
Sure.
So it's, basically it won't allow you to get binding in the corners.
Yeah, it'll save your servos.
Yep.
Yep.
Phasing is adjustment. So this is similar to actually if you were moving the anti-rotation, not the anti-rotation, the phasing washout arms here on the bottom.
Okay.
So you might need this on a scale helicopter down the road, or very large, you want to adjust the phasing ever so slightly on a multi-blade head.
Okay.
So that's kind of standard in there. We're going to go back. Tail rotor is very similar. You'd have, going back to swash plate, tail rotor, you'll have travel limits and sub trim. So if you want to center your rudder servo, you can do that there. Don't recommend using any sub trim on the rudder servo unless you really have to.
Okay. But this is all set up out of the box.
Yeah.
You guys don't have to change this. It's there for you if you want to.
So we'll go back here to the main menu. So the really cool thing is, so say you change servos, or you change blades, everything always operates a little differently. So now actually you have agility, which agility is how fast off a center the model reacts.
Okay.
So if you want to run it super aggressive off a center, you increase the agility.
All right.
If you want it a little slower, a little smoother, just lower that down.
Okay.
Similar to not dual rate, so it's not the overall speed of rotation, it's how fast it comes off a center.
Is it kind of like Expo, would you put it? I mean, a little bit?
Similar, but it's a, if you're changing directions, that kind of thing, it affects that. It's also a stabilized value. Then the next menu here, we have roll and pitch PID values with the rotation rate. So this is if you want to, be similar to dual rate is your rotation rate, but this is, hey, if you reduce the rate and you bind it to a different radio, you don't have to remember that you put dual rate values in there. It follows the receiver unit. Oh. And then as well as PIDs. So depending on the servos you run, you want to adjust these values if you're getting gains, oscillations or anything, or you change RPMs. So we'll go back here. So you have that for roll and pitch. Another cool feature is if you do just completely mess it up and you want to take it back to stock, you can just go right there, the factory reset, wipe the whole unit back to clean.
Okay, and that'll be back to the Fusion 360 settings.
Correct.
Okay.
So, but done that a few times when I just totally get out of whack.
I mean, you just gotta play around with it, and sometimes you mess stuff up. It happens.
Another cool thing is you can calibrate the sensor at any time on the model. Say you take it from where it's been warm inside and you go outside where it's very cold, you start getting a little drifting, you can calibrate it for whichever temperature you're in.
Yeah.
Very simple there. And that's pretty much it on forward programming. It sounds really advanced, but it's very handy. You don't have to have a separate device.
Yeah.
And throttle's back, and now I have control of the model as soon as I exit forward programming.
Okay. Wow. That's really cool. So like he said, for programming this flight control unit, you don't have to hold sticks and look at lights or get a separate programming box or drag your PC out with you.
Nope.
All programmed right from your
All
Spectrum
programmed
radio.
right there from the transmitter.
And that works with the DX6, the DX8, the DX9, and the IX12, DX18, DX20.
Yep.
Currently, it doesn't work with the E-series radios. That's a feature that we left out. But we'll see. If you guys really want one, we'll see what we can do.
Yeah. And then we can show it here for a quick reference. So if you say you have an older radio or you're flying this on, a 7 or 8 or something previous, you can still do it as long as you don't start the motor. And within a 30-second window of boot up, you can hold it here.
Okay.
Hold the sticks like this for a while. Just keep hold.
And then you look at the flight log menu. That's right.
You can turn text gen on as well in the telemetry menu.
Right.
And then now you can cycle servos and adjust it with aileron. Right rudder resets the value, left rudder exits.
Okay, yeah.
So very simple, it's all in the manual. But that way, if you have an older radio, you can still center your trims and everything.
Leaving you in the dark there.
Correct.
So.
Yep.
But if you want all the bells and whistles, get a new one.
Get a new radio. Highly recommended.
Hell yeah.
That's the model right now. Performance is very, very good on this. Very happy with how it's flying. It's got a clean, sleek look. I don't know, Tom, do we have any other questions?
I'm looking through questions. I think my stream might have stopped. Let me
Way to go, Tom.
Here. I know.
I saw one on there, price. So it is bind and fly basic.
Yep.
Comes out of the box this way. It's $550. With basically a ready to go out of the box, high end 360 size helicopter.
Kind of, you get the kit level quality right out of the box.
Kit level quality, ready to go.
Yep. No wrenching, no buying your own motors and guessing
and we get
what
it.
you need.
Some people like to build.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people out there that don't have the time chasing kids or whatever they're doing.
Yep.
So this is a great solution for that.
Right. So bind and fly basic, if you guys aren't familiar, that means you got to get your own battery, your own radio, and your own charger. So if you're at this caliber, this level of
probably have
heli, you probably got that stuff.
Yep. But you never know. Some people might just want to jump in. Best advice, get a simulator.
Yep.
Real flight is a great option.
Simulator or a Nano S2, which we got on the shelf.
That's a real life simulator.
Yeah, exactly.
So any other questions there?
Let's see.
Bruce, hey.
Hi, Bruce. So when do you think we're going to have these?
So that's the great part. We're showing it today, and we will have these in the first 2 weeks of April. So they'll be here, ready to go for flying season.
Yeah, right quick. All right.
Yep. Anything else there?
I'm not really seeing anything.
All right, that's either a good thing.
That's either great.
We covered everything,
and,
so I'll take that as good news.
Yeah.
But if you guys are watching this later, have any questions, shoot them down there in the comments. We'll make sure we get back and answer them.
We do have one real quick one. David wanted to know if we make any larger 3D helis.
We do.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so we have the Fusion 480.
Yeah.
So that's just kind of the next evolution. That is a kit. You have to build it. We have a super combo. Comes with all the electronics.
The super combo, we just dropped the price down to $799.
$749.
$749. Oh,
yeah,
my bad.
So that's everything you need minus a transmitter and battery and charger. So,
and you get the pleasure of putting it together,
which is just as enjoyable.
Yep.
Especially if you're car guys, it relates.
It does.
Looking at Kyle, bolts and wrenching, no glue needed.
Yeah.
It's a great experience.
Yeah. Good quality stuff.
All right.
Well,
everybody have a good weekend.
Yeah.
Get out there and fly. Starting to get some warmer weather in the country. So
I'm going to try to fly this thing for the first time. I'm not much of a heli pilot.
I will
James
not
is
be
gonna-
there. I will be hiding.
Come on. I'll get you a helmet.
Helmet? I can't run that fast still.
It'll be a good time. So thanks, guys. Have a great weekend and happy
Enjoy.
flying.
Yeah.